This is BYU Sports Nation, brought to you by the BYU Store, simulcast on BYU TV and BYU Radio. Now, from Studio B, here's Spencer Linton and Jarom Jordan.
BYU Sports Nation is live, your day-to-day play-by-play in Studio B, presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere. It is Wednesday, May 18th, wherever and however you're connected. Great to have you with us. I am Spencer Linton, teamed up alongside a man who was wrong. 10 straight wins did not come for BYU baseball. Jarom, what happened?
You were wrong with me.
I know, I was wrong.
Yeah,
we were wrong together.
Yeah, thank you. I felt blamed for what happened last night. I guess there's a cap on win streaks between BYU and Utah. So you know what? Let's get it out on the table. Utah won the series this year against BYU in baseball. We will seed baseball for football, men's basketball, women's basketball, and women's volleyball twice.
Okay.
So you can have baseball, and we can have the rest.
Yes, there has to be some collateral damage somewhere.
You can't have it all, Spence. You can't have it all, you know?
Fair enough.
You can have a lot, but
just can't have it all?
You can't have it all.
I want it all.
Dr. Pepper had a commercial. This is a Coke school. I'm going to get in trouble. Dr. Pepper had a commercial where I was like, I want it all. And I want it now. Yes, and this dude, puts his head under, you're at the gas station, the soda machine. And it's just like, yeah. I've always wanted to do that. Not really, because that would be such a sticky, terrible mess.
Just make it diet soda, because then the stick primarily goes away.
Is diet less sticky because there's less sugar?
Yeah.
I've never thought about that.
Exactly right.
Because there's no worse thing than being a 12-year-old in middle school and, one, having to chug milk and then throw it up, and two, having soda stick, like sticky Sprite on your shoe. Ah, come on.
Is that worse in the movie theater when you step in someone's spilled soda?
Yes, you're like, no! Yeah.
Hey, we've got a sugar-filled show for you.
Do we?
Caffeinated. We'll call it a perfect 10. It includes the proposed key to BYU football earning another 10-plus win season.
We have the answer.
Or dare we say a special season.
Okay.
Is it primarily on the defense to take it to that special stratosphere?
That's the answer.
Former BYU linebacker Isaiah Kaufusi tells us where the BYU defense needs the most improvement in that regard, plus a Major League All-Star shout-out for BYU. And did you know, according to the NCAA Golf Regionals, that BYU has been relocated? Bring on today's BYU Sports Nation headlines.
I can't wait to show the people that. As mentioned, baseball lost 12-7 to Utah last night, snapping a 9-game winning streak for BYU, 9-game losing streak for the Utes. That's all we're going to say about that. Cougars end the regular season with a 3-game series against LMU starting Thursday. Cougars are in 4th place in the WCC, have clinched a spot in the 6-team West Coast Conference tournament next week.
I have some good news and bad news from BYU softball. They led the WCC with 10 all-conference awards, 6 first-teamers, including Hunter Ava, Marissa Chavez, Martha Epinesa, Autumn Moffett-Court, Taylor Williams, and Violet Zavodnik, 3 on the second team, and 1 honorable mention. I have significant issue with the fact that Violet Zavodnik was not the West Coast Conference Player of the Year when it is clear and obvious, painfully obvious, that she is the best player in the conference.
What if BYU took the league to court over it, or they're like, we have evidence?
It's the coaches that vote.
Yeah.
And they're
tired. They probably had a chance to not give BYU everything.
Exactly what happened.
LMU and Pacific.
They're going to the Big 12. They didn't win it. We're voting for somebody else.
I think in the end, BYU is going to be all right. Men's golf, speaking of, in its final day of competition today at the NCAA Regionals in Stockton, California, the Cougars are tied for 3rd at 16 under, 5 strokes behind number 4, Arizona State.
Go.
Who has a summer haze, by the way. Carson Lundell and David Timmons tied for 1st overall at 7 under. Very nice. The top 5 teams and the top individual will advance to the NCAA Championships in Scottsdale next week. Hold on, boys. Let's go.
Todd Miller believes his team needs to get to 25 under for the tournament to feel safe about being in the top 5. So that's a round combined of 9 under today.
They can do it.
Michaela Clough and the Orlando Pride on the road tonight to take on the North Carolina Courage, while Ashley Hatch and the Washington Spirit are in Portland facing the Thorns.
The Aaron Thorns.
Hatch has 1 goal in 2 games this season. She's going to score a bunch more. All rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending.
We're talking about it, and so are we. It's What's Trending on BYU Sports Nation.
What's Trending presented by BYU Food to Go, the MVP of your next event. Bill Connolly's SP Plus projections have BYU slated to improve from number 79 pretty significantly. And I quote, Jarom, from Mr. Connolly, SP Plus projects BYU to improve to 48th defensively. That'd be a 31-spot jump, which combined with a fearsome offense, Bill's words,
Ooh, I like that,
would make the Cougars a top 25 team, okay? If they bounce back to 2020 levels of defense, BYU could make a run at an unbeaten record.
BYU ain't playing the 2020 schedule, sorry.
Jarom, the point remains, he believes BYU's defense is the key to not just a good season, not even a great season, potentially a very special season. Is a special season contingent solely on an improved BYU defense?
Yes, because we believe the offense will be very similar to what it has been, right? And it was 15th in SP+. So we think the offense is going to be top 25, if not top 15.
We saw how good BYU was last year with an awesome offense and a meh defense.
Yeah, 79th, I would argue, isn't meh. It's probably bad, given BYU's standard.
Injuries, all of that played into it.
Whatever we want to say, it was 79th. At the end of the year, they don't say, there's not an asterisk that says, very injured. Like, every team gets injured. Extreme ownership. Own it. BYU wasn't good enough on defense, right? If they were, it was 11-2. You beat UAB, right? Boise State, you're going to lose because you fumbled too close to the end zone a couple times or whatever. It is the defense because the offense is going to be really good. BYU has excellent special teams. Great coverage, both sides. Ryan Rico's super legit. When Jake Oldroyd is healthy, super legit, right? We got to get his back healthy. He's had that injury that affected him, right? Defensively, there's certain spots where BYU did some really nice things and certain areas of improvement. Let's talk about it. Things I liked about the defense last year. Turnovers gained, 36th. They had 20, 15 picks. That's a lot. 5 fumbles recovered. You could probably get that number. That's a nice number. That's good. I like being top 40 and stuff. 20-plus yard plays allowed, 33rd. 30-plus yard plays allowed, 18th. 40-plus, 8th. 50-plus, 4. This team did not give up big plays, which is very nice. Okay, how about yards per point? A little more advanced, right? 33rd. That's good. That's all good stuff.
I'm pretty sure the 450-yard-plus plays all happened against Virginia.
Probably. Okay, areas of improvement. Certainly, Havoc needs to be there more. Tackles for loss a game, 105th in the country. Okay, so you're like 26th worst. Sacks per game, 109th. Certainly can do better. We play in an era where sacks are lower, because the ball's getting out quicker. But among all the teams, 109, you don't want to be there, right? I just want top 50. Yards per play, 80th. Not great, right? And you do the per play and not like total defense because that takes tempo into consideration when you're just doing per play. Points per play, 56th. So more havoc. I want the D-line to get more sacks without needing the linebackers to blitz sometimes. But we believe in this group. We believe in Peyton Wilgar and Keenan Pili. I'm excited for Micah Harper to be back. Gabe Judy Lally from Vanderbilt was one of the best cover corners in the SEC. That's all exciting. I do fear, though, that, okay, it's never been a concern about the starters, Spence. We've never been concerned about BYU's starting lineup. It's, okay, if Peyton Wilgar and Keenan Pili and Max Tooley aren't in there, what's that going to be like for BYU? And last year, they had to figure that out.
Yeah, did BYU develop enough depth by necessity last year that if those guys get hurt, they'll be in a better position?
Did we see the 2020 and being up a ton against on that schedule that they were ready for 21 in certain moments, right, on offense? Hopefully that's the case because defensively, I think BYU has a lot of playmakers.
Again, this is not asking BYU to do something that they are incapable of.
Right.
And I'm just looking at BYU. They could be like a top 50 defense.
Yeah.
Top 50.
I agree with Bill on that. Yeah.
Right?
In SP Plus, in certain categories, yes.
So you're in the top tier. Like there are 130 FBS Division I teams.
Top 40 would be nice. Then you're like the upper third, right?
Sure. Yeah. Even if they could be top 50, now we're talking. Now BYU.
In what? SP Plus?
Yes, in SP Plus. Okay, which I think is a great metric to rate your overall defensive performance.
It takes a lot into account.
It's kind of like the net ranking for me. Okay.
Yes. It's the anti-RPI.
It has nothing to do with RPI. If BYU is just top 50, then I think they're going to win 9 or 10 games. Now, Jarom, he said the defense is the hinge point on a special season.
Yes.
So what are we defining as special? Would 10+ against that schedule count as special?
Spencer, I think from here on, here until Jesus comes back, if BYU wins 10+ against these schedules, this year there's 5 Power 5s in Boise State. And you could argue, hey,
4 preseason top 25 teams.
You could argue Utah State won 11 games last year, finished top 25. That would be a good win.
Okay.
Always, right? Yes, from now on, if BYU ever wins 10 games.
Special.
We didn't always say that in the Wacker Mountain West per se. 11 was always special. 10, like when BYU won 10 games in 2011, it was the first year of Indy. It was like, what is this like? You could argue that schedule wasn't that hard. But I think from here on out, 10+.
Okay, a couple of facts that help BYU in the idea that their defense will naturally take a jump. Okay? Just because of the attrition that happened last year, we already talked about it, you develop younger guys. You put them into high-pressure situations, and they get better. Sometimes it's ugly. Sometimes it hurts.
Yes.
But there's this natural level of progression when you go through those growing pains.
Ben Bywater is a name you know because of injury.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah. And he's not alone in that. The defensive line had several of those scenarios last year because it felt like there was a different defensive line every game last year.
Well, BYU loves to line change.
My goodness.
Literally, there's like 8 dudes you got to get to know.
Here's the other thing. BYU returns the most starters of any team in America. 19.
It was the fewest last year.
19.
Right?
One of the fewest,
right.
And they still won 10 games. So
wow.
19 returning starters, that typically lends itself to, okay, they're going to take a step forward. And 19 definitely plays into the defensive side of the ball. Plus, you're adding back Keenan Peely, Micah Harper, a proven transfer in Gabe Judy-Lally, who was a good cornerback in the SEC, to a defense.
Keenan Peely only played 2 games. You could argue he
2 games
is newish, right, based on only that.
Okay.
3 games.
Sorry, so when we list them as newcomers, there's a lot of truth to that.
2-ish games.
And he got hurt early in the Arizona State game.
Yep.
So if you add those guys to a defense that is naturally going to take the progression because of what happened last year, like even if you weren't adding those guys, I feel like BYU would be middle of the pack defense.
Yes, and guess what? BYU won 10 games against 7 Power 5s with the 79th defense in the country.
Yes.
What if they're 50th?
So
you
just
get another game.
Natural progression by more development, being in the program. Like they're going to be middle of the pack even without those 3 guys. But the addition of Keenan Peely, Micah Harper, and Gabe Judy-Lally and Peyton Wilgar healthy again. Like Peyton was playing hurt.
Yes.
He was not himself, and he was playing out of position because Keenan Peely was not in.
Yes.
This is why I feel like BYU will be a top 50 defense. That right there. Just natural progression plus those 3 guys.
If BYU's not a top 50 defense, if BYU doesn't win at least 9 games, I'm disappointed. I could see an argument in this question that it's actually Christopher Brooks. I think we're assuming a lot. I think we're excited about that assumption, but we just lost Tyler Algier, who just had the most amazing rushing season we've ever seen. It's going to be hard to replace that production. Can BYU do it by committee with Christopher Brooks and Lopini Katoa? The answer, we think, is just approximate it. I don't need it to be equal or better. I need it to approximate it because we think BYU continues to develop this offense. Aaron Roderick, as the primary play caller since the middle of 2019, BYU's 26-4 in those games. He calls a great game.
He's worth every penny they're paying him.
Quarterbacks. BYU's got one of the best left tackles in America. Like, this is going to be a fun season because guess what? BYU football's back.
If BYU can just maintain the numbers they had last year, Jarom, maintain. Even if they were 79th in defense and they had a top 20 offense again, I still believe they're going to win 9 games.
I'm not expecting BYU to equal or better the offense, although I would love that. Again, if they approximate it, BYU's 15th in SP plus in offense. If they're top 25, that's really good because just a little lower, the defense comes up. Like,
let's maintain.
You can't, unfortunately, for some reason, you can't have an elite offense and defense. Like, we've just not seen it historically.
Unless you're Georgia.
Well, elite defense and then a really good offense. But, like, their defense was unbelievable. But, like, you think about the 2012 and 13 BYU football seasons. Those teams win 8 games. The defenses are some of the best BYU's ever had. Like, all 4 linebackers played in the NFL at least a little bit. And you have young freshman, sophomore, Taysom Jamal Williams. The offense wasn't good enough. Otherwise, those teams win 10+, maybe 11. They're ranked. They're even more relevant. But this year, BYU could have an elite offense, we hope. defensively, if they can be good.
Just get better.
Or even okay, because last year I would argue they were probably on the bottom side of okay to I don't know if they were bad, but 79 is certainly not where you want to be.
I went with meh.
Yes. But like 5 fumbles recovered. Let's raise that. 15 picks. That's a good number. Keep going there. In 2016, when BYU's 9-4, BYU's like top 5 in the country because they have like 32 takeaways or something crazy. Takeaways are an interesting stat as well. Some of that's luck, mostly luck, some skill. I'm excited about it, though, because BYU does have some real playmakers coming back. Micah Harper was like the only freshman in 2020 that played on the defense and started, and now he's back. Like George Udo, we've been hearing a lot about George Udo. He wasn't fully back last year.
Listen to the back 7, okay? Malik Moore, Micah Harper, D'Angelo Mandel, Caleb Hayes, Gabe Judy Lally, Keenan Peely,
Isaiah Heron,
Peyton Wilgar,
Gabe Judy Lally,
Ben Bywater, Max Tooley.
Most of these guys have been here for like 3 years as like the guys.
Yeah.
So for the defense, I feel like they have a lot to prove as well, which is exciting. There's a lot of good talent there.
We'll get a good look at that BYU defense in how many days?
Countdown to the Bulls.
108 in 108 days.
So next Thursday, 100 days. Is that we are told don't do math live on the air.
Yeah.
But next Thursday.
I believe Jarom, it's approximately 15 weeks from this Saturday.
Somehow I got through BYU without having to take a math class. That's like the most proud fact.
Did you take an AP class in high school?
Heck no. I dropped out of pre-calc as a junior in high school.
How in the world?
I didn't take a math class after my junior of high school.
How did you do that?
I paid some teachers off.
And the truth shall set you free with the diploma.
I wish I'd had enough money to even tempt somebody, and then they'd be like, honor code, get out of here, go to UVU.
Our question of the day is a, quote, special season, however you define that. We think it's 10-plus wins. Contingent on an improved BYU defense. Let's hear from you, BYUSN, and voice of the nation.
This is the voice of the nation on BYU Sports Nation.
Okay, first response in from Jimmy Edwards on Facebook.
Hello, James.
Jimmy says, offense sells tickets, defense wins games, special teams win championships.
Jimmy was certainly a kicker in high school. Or long snapper. I don't believe defense wins championships. I believe you have to actually score points to win the game.
Complete teams win championships.
Yes, I believe the defense sets up the offense to win the game, unless that defense scores. Like Kyle Van Noy's like, well, 2011 Ole Miss, 2012 San Diego State. In those cases, yes, the defense won
you could
that
argue
game.
he beat Utah State by just absolutely deflating them by intercepting the first pass against Chucky Keaton.
Shout
running
out
into the
to
end zone.
Chuckles Keaton.
Yeah. Kyle won some games on defense by his lonesome.
2013 Utah State. See ya! When was the game lost? On the first play. That was awesome.
BYUSN on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Number 8. Kyle Van Noy.
Number 8.
Crazy, right? Coming up is Jamal Williams saying he's going to ignore the Hard Knocks camera, even possible.
And Isaiah Kaufusi, former BYU linebacker, joins us next. What part of the defense is the key to making that ascension toward a special season? This is BYU Sports Nation.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by BYU Food to Go, the MVP of your next event.
Introducing the Truck for Adventure. The all-new 2022 Nissan Frontier doesn't compromise on power or comfort. This midsize truck was redesigned to incorporate the latest technology and designs for safety, comfort, and convenience. Plus, with up to 6,700 pounds of towing capacity and best-in-class horsepower, it's rugged enough for adventure and still safe enough to transport all your favorite people. Where's your new Frontier? You'll find it at Tim Dowling Nissan Southtown and South Jordan.
Quick crack. Wash all you want. Don't drive dirty.
As we've spent time working with so many groups around the world, we've learned a lot.
I have really learned the importance of gratitude.
African electrical systems.
Well, I've learned that Kieran actually loves concrete.
The power of cooperation.
But above all,
We've learned the world is a family.
And fixing someone else's problems
Ends up fixing my own.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Yo, your boys are going to be in St. George this Saturday at the BYU Fan Fest, Sandtown Park in St. George, noon Eastern, 10 Mountain on BYU TV and BYU Radio. Let's go, baby.
We are live in Studio B. This is your day-to-day BYU Sports play-by-play. I'm Spencer Linton, teamed up alongside Jarom Jordan. It is now time to welcome back one of our favorites to ever don a BYU football uniform. He was a great linebacker. Isaiah Kaufusi is with us over Zoom.
Yeah.
Isaiah, welcome back to BYUSN.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
What do you do?
Cougs forever.
Yeah, man. What do you do between May 18th and the start of a football season? What's the ideal summer activity for you?
You know, my wife doesn't like it, but I like to get out on the golf course.
Yeah, baby.
Been getting into it. I've heard Jarom isn't too good at golf. I won't disclose
This is accurate.
who shared that information with me, but
This is accurate. Yes.
you know, just trying to dial in the swing like every, ex-athlete, former athlete does, retired athlete, I guess. So trying to just get out on the course and have some fun and get some sun.
Who was the best when you were a player? Who was the best golfer on the team?
Great question. Brady Christensen's up there.
We know he's
Dude
good.
smashes his 4-iron.
Yeah.
I mean, he hits his 4-iron like 260 yards, I swear. It is just ridiculous. I mean, Brady's really good. A lot of other guys. I'm trying to think. I know Jake Oldroyd's pretty good. Hayden Livingston. Some of the current guys. So I never was on that list, though.
We like to joke that at Tennessee on the game-tying field goal that Jake pulled out the sand wedge on that one and just slid it in. We're like, whoa, that was close, man.
Oh,
yeah, just a little chip shot there.
Yeah. Little baby draw in there, landed it in there softly. I guess my next question is, Isaiah, when are we going to play golf so that you can witness Jarom's golf expertise?
I'm double bogey guy.
On your own.
Hey, whenever you guys want to pay for me to come out and play some golf, I'm there.
I think if you've confused us for Greg Wrubell. I think you think.
Oh, okay.
Isaiah's on. He wants that Greg Wrubell NIL deal.
Greg's been on that NIL deal for a long time. Okay, we were talking about defense in what's trending in the opening block, and obviously this team is better than it showed last year. There were injuries that certainly affected this team. They did some really nice things, as we outlined. Certainly some areas of improvement. But do you feel like a special season, and this is our question of the day, hinges on the defense being vastly improved?
Great question. I would say that a majority of kind of the season and the success will fall on the defense. But, I mean, we know that great seasons are contingent upon offense, defense, and special teams, right? You got to have all three. Offense, has a lot of returning production, and same as the defense. I think, the defense has a lot of production coming back. To say that the success of the season hinges solely upon the defense, no. But again, defense wins championships. That's always been my mentality and my mindset. And so being a defensive guy, you got to play great defense to have a great season. And so I guess that's my long answer to that question.
And here's why I think we're focusing on the defense, because we feel like, hey, that offense is going to be very similar, if not better. Granted, without Tyler Algier, it's hard to know, but the O-line's stacked. You bring in a veteran like Christopher Brooks. You lose some really good receivers, obviously. But that group feels pretty good. That O-line's one of the best BYU's had in a long time. And then on special teams, BYU's excellent. Jake Oldroyd, when he's locked in, he's amazing, right? Obviously, it's whether his back is good in that game. And then BYU was fourth in net punting last year in the NCAA. It's pretty awesome with Ryan Rico. So it's like, okay, can the defense be better? The answer is yes. The defense is going to be better. It's just how much.
Yeah, and I think it really too falls on how healthy the defense can be, and that's always kind of been the thing with BYU, right? Is coming out of the independence era, we've always kind of had like, what's the depth look like? That's always been the big question. What's our depth like? What are the young guys looking like? And so, I think with the way the last season turned out, with some of the injuries that we had at the linebacking core, and I think if the defense can remain healthy, which I think they're doing a great job at really honing in how to keep guys healthy, I think that BYU will do something really, really special this year.
Isaiah, this whole conversation stems from a metric that was put out by Bill Connolly of ESPN. His SP Plus projections had BYU's defense at number 79 last year. So the offense obviously was really good behind Jaron Hall and Tyler Algier and that whole slew of weapons. But the defense was number 79. So where do you specifically want to see BYU's defense improve so that number climbs up more towards the top 50? And then maybe we're talking about a special season.
Yeah, that's also a great point. I think one is getting after the quarterback, right? Seeing how the defensive line will do. And there's a lot of returning production, right? We lost Lopa, but we have, a lot of returning production coming back. Tyler Batty, Caden Hawes coming in. And I'd like to see how some of these young guys do. I know Logan Fano, suffered that injury, but Ice Moa, like, how are these young guys going to be able to come in and contribute getting after the quarterback? That's definitely going to play a big factor in where the defense will fall. But then also, takeaways, right? What are we doing to take away the ball? We got our linebacking core back. We know Peyton Wilgar. We know Keenan. They're ball hawks. They get after the ball. They find a way to get the ball. Excited to have Ben Bywater, my brother, coming up. Like, what are they doing? What can they do to make plays and get the ball back for the offense? And then the secondary looks nice, right? We have that transfer coming in, Gabe, and Caleb Hayes, played phenomenal. I mean, he played great football last year. Malik, in the secondary. I think that's where it's really the boost will come from takeaways. How can we take away the ball? Whether that's interceptions, fumble recoveries, forcing fumbles, sacks, 3 and outs. What are they doing? So,
Isaiah, who is the most critical component to this defense in terms of guys returning from injury or newcomers? So let's throw in Micah Harper. You mentioned Gabe Judy Lally, Keenan Peely, Peyton Wilgar is getting back and he's healthy. Who's the most important component among the newcomers and guys coming off of injury?
Great question. For me, it might be because I'm biased for the linebackers, right? I think Keenan and Peyton are going to be some of the most critical coming back, just to provide some leadership and kind of be the glue for the defense, right? There kind of needs to be someone that just really steps up. And so I don't think there's anyone really better than Peyton and Keenan to really take on that role, to solidify themselves as really the captains of that defense and to help uplift and motivate that defense.
They're so good. And my fear is that behind them, BYU needs to be ready if something happens again, which brings me to this. In the Big 12, obviously the goal is to win the Big 12, to get to that point where BYU can sustain a season of, let's be honest, probably 9 conference games and at least 1 non-conference. We're talking about 10 games against Power 5 teams. That's going to be a new era, right? But BYU's been playing more and more, and it's not going to be vastly different. But at the end of last season, BYU's pretty banged up. So, how much depth does BYU need to be able to sustain that and still compete well in the Big 12? Because right now it feels like there's some work to do there, certainly in recruiting.
Yeah, I think you got to have at least 2 to 3 guys at each position, right? For sure, 2. I mean, you got to have guys that can rotate, that can come in, that your coaches can trust to take reps and take critical downs. So, depth will come, I think, as time goes on in the Big 12. And as BYU continues to have success. I mean, we're going to get a lot of guys coming in, a lot of transfers coming in through the transfer portal. So I think the depth part will come, but yeah, you definitely need 2 to 3 guys to be able to come in at each position, contribute significant playing time, and make plays. So that's my take on it. I think you got to have at least 2 to 3.
Isaiah Kaufusi is with us on BYU Sports Nation. Isaiah, you know firsthand just how potent the BYU offense can be. You saw it in 2020. You witnessed it in 2021 on the sideline watching your brother play, and that BYU offense put together 10 wins. What's the key to slowing down Jaron Hall and the BYU offense?
I don't think there really is a key. Jaron, those guys are fantastic. Love the way Jaron, takes the helm and really controls the game. I think that's probably the biggest key is how can you contain Jaron, right? He makes big plays with his feet and with his arm. I mean, he can really do it all. So the key really lies, can you get after him? Can you get in his head? But I think the O-line is going to do a great job at protecting him. Really opening up the run game and protecting him in the pass. So not sure there really is an Achilles heel for that offense.
BYU coughed it up a total of 12 times last year. Just unbelievable. Took care of the football and then got 20 turnovers on defense, takeaways, which was awesome. So looking at this schedule, 2022, we've been talking about it's a 9+ win kind of season against 5 tough teams. I would argue Boise State's even tougher than Stanford. Obviously, after last year, you want to go and get that game for obvious reasons. How do you see 2022 playing out, and is this another 10+ win season potentially?
Yeah, looking at it, I think, all the games that they have, I think they got a 10+ win season. They play some really great teams, Oregon, Notre Dame's in there. Liberty always is, somehow really good. They play great football. Tanner McKee at Stanford, he's a great quarterback and has a lot of hype around him. So really good competition, really great season. But I think, like I said earlier, if BYU can put together an offense, defense, and special teams in every single game, right? If they can play great football in all 3 phases of the game, I think that they can compete with just about anybody. So 10 wins is a great expectation. It's a great bar to set. And if I'm in the locker room, I'm saying, hey, this is the expectation. This is where the bar is set. This is where the standard is. And what do we need to do to get there, right? How can we improve every single day to hit that 10+ win season? So definitely believe in them, got faith. They got all the right tools. The coaches have all the right schemes in place and really excited to just see them execute.
Isaiah, at this time last year, you were with the Indianapolis Colts as an undrafted free agent trying to make your way onto that roster. So if you were to put yourself in the shoes of Samson Nacua, who's also with the Colts, and the other undrafted free agents, what are they going through right now?
Yeah, it's just a lot. I mean, a lot to take in, right? It's the same game, but it just seems to be just maximized and heightened, and your emotions are going crazy. It's, going to camp. Camp is their off-season training camp is pretty chill, right? It's a lot of learning and not really physical, in terms of hitting but then you get into your training camp and it's just like they just ramp it up. Some of the most emotionally taxing, physically taxing, mentally taxing times that I've really experienced. So it's a lot, but just really proud of him. I mean, to even get to that point is such an accomplishment, and to have an opportunity to break in and to, create a name for yourself in the NFL, it's fantastic. And so cheering for all the guys that have an opportunity to play at the next level. It's not easy, but some of the most challenging times, but learning times that I've ever had.
Isaiah, always great to talk with you. Fantastic insight. And here's to another 10+ win season. Great stuff, man.
Love it. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
You got it. Isaiah Kaufusi. We'll see him on the link soon, Jarom.
We will see him on the link soon. Yeah. Let's go.
You gonna wager something? You have to wager something,
Why
right?
would I, as a double bogey guy, wager
No, listen, that's the
anything?
beauty of golf. You can implement handicaps.
I'll be like, hey.
Can you give me a stroke on each hole? Or
Yeah. Well, I want to see Isaiah's game. We haven't we don't know about that. Yeah. See, here's the thing.
He wants some payback for what you did to his flag football team. That's what's really happening.
So for those who don't know, he brought it up. I didn't bring it up. Whatever. It was Zane Anderson and Trajan Peely were the coaches of a team I was on in like a tournament with some sponsors or whatever. Comes down to the championship game. It's Isaiah's team, and I can't remember who else. With comes down to they throw a Hail Mary.
Yep.
It bounces off someone, and your boy
they complete the pass
off the tip, and I pull the flag at the 1 yard line,
Ooh.
1 foot line. Real to be dramatic.
Okay.
And we win, they lose. Isaiah has not forgotten. That's why he is bitter and wants to play something I'm not good at to get me back.
It's going to come down to a very short putt because it was on the 1 foot line. So it's going to come
down to a short putt.
Short putt.
That I'll go high right cup and just read it wrong. Like, that's what it's going to be. Coming up, he set 3 school records in the last 6 months. Maybe we should get some karma from him. Zach McWhorter is on the show.
Yeah, athletes are so good that sometimes we need them to bring the swag
you
here.
On the show, yeah.
And when did BYU move north, like way north? Because
what?
The NCAA has the Cougars in an interesting location on one of their regional championship flags. This is BYU Sports Nation.
Hi, Spencer Linton here, letting you know when your company joins the BYU team as a corporate partner, your brand can be featured in sports programming on BYU TV and BYU Radio. In addition to all of the great games, you can be part of the BYU coaches shows, place your message in Countdown to Kickoff, basketball pre- and post-game shows, and each weekday on BYU Sports Nation. We invite your team to join ours and become a corporate sponsor of BYU Athletics. For details, email sponsorship@byu.edu today.
I know what it's like to be overlooked, to be doubted, to fly under the radar. I only had one offer coming out of high school, but I was ready for every moment, every opportunity, and every shot that I got. Now I'm playing professional basketball, aiming to be one of the best shooters on the planet. And I'm just getting started. Be ready for your moment with Rapid Reboot, the future of rapid recovery.
BYU Food to Go's convenient location at 2191 North Canyon Road in Provo makes bringing popular BYU foods to your next event easy. Everything's ready when you need it at the drive and load pickup. You drive in and they load no matter the weather. And stop in the on-site creamery for great BYU chocolate milk and ice cream. BYU Food to Go, bringing campus to your table. Call for details, 801-422-5001.
Turn TV time into together time with the BYU TV app. Watch all your favorite shows when, where, and how you want.
This isn't like a practical joke, is it?
No, sir. Immerse yourself in stories with all the feels. Go on uninterrupted journeys of discovery and see families coming together while watching with your own. See new and original content, all for free on the BYU TV app.
BYU Sports Nation is brought to you by Maersk, enabling global trade for a growing world.
Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation. I am Spencer Linton alongside Jarom Jordan. To interact with the show and get content throughout the day, it's pretty simple. You follow us on all of the major social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and yes, TikTok. Let's whip it. The Cougar Whip brand presented by Maersk, your integrated container logistics company enabling global trade for a growing world.
Bigger snub, BYU softball not getting an NCAA bid, or Violet Zvodnik not being named WCC Player of the Year.
As angry as I was about the Cougars not getting into the tournament, I'm more upset about Violet not being named the West Coast Conference Player of the Year because it's ridiculous. Like, look at the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
They're not
in conference
close.
Play. That's what it is.
Even in conference play, they are
legit.
not close. Taking nothing away from Georgia Blair of LMU. Violet was clearly the best overall player, and she had a perfect fielding percentage. She made no errors in center field all year.
We brought it up earlier. Because BYU's lame duck in the league, and someone else
won it,
technically won it on the tiebreaker.
Co-champ.
There was an opportunity for the league to not give BYU what it typically gives.
It's embarrassing. This banner is currently on display at the Stockton Regional for men's golf. Also embarrassing. Notice where BYU is located. Nope, not in the state of Utah. They're in the, we'll call that the northeast corner of Idaho.
I did not know that BYU was kind of near Yellowstone.
Is that supposed to be Rexburg?
Rexburg gave up on the sports a long time ago. That's why your boy, when he visited, I went third person there, Rexburg, completely gave up on it because I was like, there ain't no sports here and this isn't for me.
Jarom, was this flag made by a Utah State Aggie that's getting back at BYU for all of the Ogden and Logan jokes?
Yes, absolutely. This is and canceling 23 through 26. Utah State strikes again, making this banner.
BYU, pride of Northeast Idaho.
BYU, Idaho. Colorado Rockies all-star third baseman Chris Bryant was in Salt Lake last night. Rehab stint with AAA Albuquerque Isotopes, also featured on Better Call Saul on Monday. Before the game, he talked about how much he loves Utah and mentioned the view at BYU.
I think BYU's a little bit better. It's a little close. The mountains are a little closer. I actually played there in college, so maybe 3 or 4 times up in here. But like I said, it's incredible.
Yeah, so he's basically just said it's the best view in baseball.
Did Bryant just become BYU fans' second favorite big leaguer to Michael Rucker?
Probably. Yeah, like he seems super nice, right? He's like a PR guy's dream.
I wanted the Mariners to get him at third base because Kyle Seager basically was done last year. Didn't happen, but pretty cool that Chris Bryant's hanging out.
Yeah, Chris Bryant's like, the 17 home runs I hit in Pro Bowl, they all looked amazing against that mountain backdrop.
He played at San Diego, so yeah, he played here. But
Jamal Williams was asked at press conference about playing to the Hard Knocks cameras from HBO in camp. Here is his response.
It's just going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, people think I'm funny, but I don't do it on purpose. It's just me. I just walk around and just be me all the time. That's it. I can't fake nothing, but, like, they going to see it. They going to see it on my face. Every time they got a camera in my face, just going to look at them. We got people here to do that already, So, if they ain't people here I already know, and they got a camera in my face, I ain't going to smile at them. Maybe. We'll see.
I almost believed him until the very end.
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
What's the chance Jamal Williams is not the star of Hard Knocks?
0%. He's going to be the star of it. He has the biggest personality, perhaps in BYU history. Like, he's so fun. It's going to be awesome. Everyone's going to love Jamal Williams that doesn't already know Jamal.
He will be the star.
And Jamal, you play for the Lions. When Hard Knocks comes in, now people actually see what the Lions do, okay?
I'm not going to smile. Maybe. We'll see.
Coming up. Rise and shout out to Laying Out.
And Zach McWhorter and his inactive amygdala. Join us next. Do you remember that? If not, we'll recap it.
Yeah.
He's incredible at the pole vault as well. This is BYU Sports Nation.
Let's go.
Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork offers a large inventory of Ford vehicles, including a selection of cars and trucks, providing a range of transportation choices. From the Ford Fusion sedan and the Edge crossover SUV to a range of pickups including the F-150. Each product line comes with options to enhance performance, comfort, and safety. Think Ford, think Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork.
Things happening in Seaburg.
They care more about people spending money than they do about people getting sick.
If they're causing toxic pollution, it is everyone's fight. We can't just let them get away with it.
If anyone can figure this out, it's my brother.
Friends don't abandon each other. Fine. Be heroes.
I know what it's like to love someone so much you'd do anything for them.
Whatever happens, I'm glad we're facing it together.
Me too.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Baseball wraps up the regular season starting tomorrow in a 3-game series against LMU. Watch Game 1, 8 Eastern on the BYU TV app or listen live on the BYU radio.
Star Wars night last night, and for that moment,
dude, how fun was that?
Cole Gamble held the high ground after that home run and gave BYU the lead.
I have the high ground. Okay, so I have, well, later let's discuss because I want to talk to Zach, but I'm finishing I'm in season 3 of Clone Wars and Rebels. I kind of want to wait to watch those to watch Kenobi, which comes out in like 9 days.
Okay.
Should I wait? I think I should wait.
You should wait.
But I'm kind of anxious.
Just wait.
Okay, I'll wait.
Joining us now, as promised, is an elite pole vaulter, one of the best in the country, if not the best in the country. His name is Zach McWhorter. He's on BYU Sports Nation live at Studio B. Zach,
what's up, Zach?
It's nice to have you in studio.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm excited to shoot the breeze with you guys.
Last time was on Zoom, and you mentioned amygdala.
Inactive amygdala.
What is that again?
I'll be honest, I really don't know that much about it. I think I was trying to signal on Zoom that I was smart, but it
it worked.
I'm not.
I think we were talking about the moment and how you just like don't get freaked out and like you're not dwelling on the past of any bad pole vaults that have happened in the past, and you're just like, I just live in the moment. I have an inactive amygdala, and I was like, excuse me, what?
So you don't know what it means?
I've read some stuff about it. Like I read in this one book that guy in Texas that like shot from the bell tower, the reason why he did it and didn't have any fear and stuff was because he had something pressing up against his amygdala, like a tumor. And then it said something about
disactivated a certain
emotion
trigger.
And I might even have it backwards. It might be that if you have like an overactive amygdala, you don't have any fear or you take
Which
risks.
can be dangerous, right?
Yeah. So I'll have to go check that out.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming in, man. It was good. No, just good.
Resident scientist and pole vaulter Zach McWhorter is on BYU Sports Nation. Yeah, it takes overcoming a level of fear to get into pole vault 1, practice it, and then become elite at it. You're ranked number 27 in the world right now. Top 30 world.
Number 7 in the U.S.
ranking.
Number 2 in the NCAA. You have been number 1. You're in a battle, right? What's that like, man? To be that great at something like that?
You know, it's strange because you think when you're younger, when you're working at it, that once you make it to this point, that like something's gonna happen, and nothing really changes. Like someone asked me, what did it feel like, you know, if you break a record? And I'm like, it feels really good for about 15 seconds. It's quite hilarious. Yeah.
I mean, you've broken your own record a number of times, so are you just becoming numb to that? Oh, another record broken, whatever.
Well, if I'm being completely honest, it is desensitizing. And I don't mean to sound like, break records, but it's just, I don't know.
The next pole vault is what you hope is the next record, right? And at the last chance meet at BYU, you broke your record not once but twice?
Just once.
Just once. Never mind. Not even impressive. Just kidding. What's it like to set a new PR at home, final meet at home too, which is pretty cool?
It feels good. I've only competed 3 times this outdoor season, and it's just because I want to build up momentum. That's the mistake I've made the last 2 years is I come out really hot in the beginning of the season, and then by the end, I'm just not at my peak, and I'm not fully healthy. So it was fun, and it was unexpected because I'm not trying to peak right now, but in a couple weeks. So.
Fair to say that your approach this time with fewer performances worked out for you?
So far, but I mean, what I realized, at least with indoor season, I had a great indoor season. Then I came out second, and it was kind of an anticlimactic finish. And just compared to last season, like in 2021, I got second at indoor nationals, and it was sensational. But then this year, I got second, and it was extremely awkward. I feel like a lot of people were pitying me, and it made me realize, like, I don't know. Like just the way that sports is set up, it all comes down to that one day, and it's just kind of strange how,
the standards change. You want to win the national championship. Is it going to come down to you against Clayton Frisch at Sam Houston, who's number 1 right now, right?
Yeah,
barely above.
He's a great competitor. Sandre, who won indoor nationals. I mean, really, anyone. There's several guys that,
including your teammate Caleb Wiskin, 6th right now.
Including Caleb.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Is he pushing you? I mean, is this helping you get better?
Absolutely, and he's one of the hardest workers I know. So.
That's awesome.
Zach McWhorter, elite pole vaulter for BYU, number 2 in the country.
We didn't use the E word in vain here.
Is with us on BYU Sports Nation. I know that you told us before when we've had you on a couple of times, but for those that are being introduced to you for the first time, walk us through briefly your introduction to the pole vault, how you got into it, and why you continue to do it.
Yeah, so when I was in 7th grade, my father, who pole vaulted at BYU back in the early 90s, he purchased some used pole vault pits from the University of Arkansas, $500. They had it in an auction. We got them. And so he first put them in a warehouse. My older brother, who was a senior in high school, was getting into it. And I played all the mainstream sports, basketball, baseball, football. And just one day I stopped by the warehouse to give it a try. It wasn't something that was premeditated, or my dad never talked about it growing up. And tried it out, and then, of course, the pits were moved to my front yard. We lived out in the country, and it's just inevitable that I would try it. And I think, when you're slightly good at something, you tend to want to keep doing it.
Yes.
Just it's like a positive feedback loop. People, think you're cool if you're good at something. So,
what's going on over at the McWhorter's place? Oh, they're just pole vaulting again.
Just pole vaulting, pick suey. By the way, BYU's playing Arkansas this year in football. Is that going to be a conflict of interest for you? I assume you're a Razorback.
There is a little bit of conflict of interest. I have called the Hogs many times, but I think I'll probably root for BYU.
Okay.
Will you do like the pig suey cheer or whatever if the Razorbacks score a touchdown?
Yeah.
You should.
It can be happy for both teams,
It's kind of part of it, right?
Like, how many people from Arkansas are at BYU? Handful? I'm talking the whole.
I'd say
student.
at BYU probably 50 if I were to guess.
Athletes. Are you the only one?
Oh, athletes.
That was the question I wanted. But now athletes, like, are you the only one from Arkansas?
Actually, my former teammate Isabel Neal, who's a pole vaulter, she's from Arkansas.
So Arkansas is the pole vaulting capital of BYU.
It's a pipeline.
It's a pipeline.
It's a pole vault pipeline from Arkansas.
Women's gets new Kiwis, and pole vaulters come from Arkansas. That's awesome.
So answer me this. We'll finish with this. Are Olympics a reality for you in 2 years?
Are they a reality for me? What does that mean?
You'll be at the Olympic trials at least, right?
Yeah, I'll definitely be at the Olympic trials.
2 years, yeah.
Do you feel like you're good enough to compete in the Olympics for Team USA?
I feel that way, whether I am or not. Like, I think that I've jumped high enough to. So, we'll see.
Let's bring this to fruition.
Let's go. But that's 2 years down the road.
Typically, we give you BYU Sports Nation karma. You're so good. Can we just have some of your good karma? Your mojo?
Second thought here. We don't want to take away anything that he's doing.
That's true.
How about after June and you win the national championship? How about that? At Hayward Field, you know what I'm saying? That'd be awesome, man.
Zach, congratulations on everything.
Yeah, best of luck. Oh, first time in studio.
Stuff. Can you sign our flag during the break?
Yeah. Of course. It'd
be
an honor.
Yes.
We need your autograph.
We don't have anybody from Arkansas on it.
We need your autograph. And if you want to write inactive amygdala on there, too, that's all right. Whatever. It's your world. Awesome. We're living in it, brother.
All right. Well,
thanks, Zach.
Yeah, thank you guys so
Thanks,
much.
Zach.
Okay, coming up, who among you will get today's Elite Voices?
And going all out in the field of play, it'll probably get you a Rising shout-out. We discuss next on BYU Sports Nation.
Right, Mitch.
And BYU made such a difference in our lives, I think really helped mold us as to who we are. And so when we had that opportunity and came back to Boise and found out there was an active chapter, we thought, okay, that's something that I can really get behind and get involved in.
We want to promote the BYU experience all over the region. We want people who leave BYU to still stay connected.
Professor Rock here.
The Food Nanny.
Chandler Scott here.
Samry.
Hey, everyone.
Hello.
I just want to tell you about this amazing,
excellent, cool account called My Style.
My Style checking. I'm talking travel points.
Gift card. Concert tickets.
All just for using my account.
That's My Style.
So check it out.
Give it a shot.
Open your My Style checking account today.
I, Emily, take you.
Uh-oh. Do you not know the groom's name?
I missed it on our first date, and it's way too late to ask.
Oh, my goodness.
Whenever you experience something funny, the first thing you want to do is, share it with your loved ones.
The best comedy can, increase your empathy a little bit.
It's like a medicine, almost. You know what I mean? It's like for all of us to do this, and nothing is coming in between us. It's just the joke that brought us together. It's powerful.
The thing that's more rare now is comedy that comes out of positivity.
Seeing that comedy helped us through things, we want to use that to help other people in a way.
I think in season 6 we had one kid whose make-a-wish was to come to Studio C. You could tell this show meant a ton to him, and it made me be like, man, I gotta step my game up. These goofy sketches mean a lot to people.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics.
More of that from Out Tonight.
Yes, please.
You know what I'm saying?
BYU Sports Nation, always available on demand via the BYU TV and BYU Radio apps.
We'll download the podcast. Just Google BYU Sports Nation podcast. Subscribe, rate, and review.
Our question of the day, is a special season for BYU football contingent on an improved BYU defense? We feel like the offense is going to be right there. They're going to be great again.
And special teams are going to be dope again. Yeah.
Defense was number 79 in the SP Plus projections, which is lower end.
Yep.
Is it contingent on the defense improving for a special season?
I could see an argument for Christopher Brooks here as well. That he be 80% of what Tyler Algier was? Can he be 75% or something? Can he get like 1,200 yards? He doesn't need 1,600 yards like that.
Our elite voice of the day presented by Sundance Mountain Resort, Swoosh Life 59 on Instagram answers. In the words of all baby boomer dads, defense wins championships.
Nice.
So true. I feel like if BYU's defense can play even better than last year, puts on blue goggles.
You don't need to put them on. I think they'll be better.
BYU will go to a New Year's Six bowl, baby.
Okay, never mind.
Blue goggle alert.
Hashtag
blue goggle alert. Blue goggle
what
alert.
if the defense is like top 25 and BYU's 11-1?
Then New Year's Six is a reality.
Now there's a shot.
That's
right?
why I feel like it is.
And if Notre Dame's one of those wins,
a special season is contingent on the defense. Like if the offense maintains or is close, let's say they're a top 25 offense, and BYU's defense is like
37th,
top 40, like top 35.
They got a chance.
Now we're talking.
Because last year was fun. It didn't happen, but like 10-2 and at least being in the hunt for that was awesome. BYU didn't make it. Maybe there was an inch away with Baylor, Oklahoma State. Who knows? But like, if you're a one-loss BYU this year, you are definitely in the hunt for New Year's. If you're undefeated, you're in. You're in, period. Yep.
Today's Rise and Shout Out presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics. Let's go back to BYU baseball last night. Not one, but two defensive web gems by BYU center fielder Mitch McIntyre. He did this twice, Jarom.
That's amazing. I love that.
I mean, so it's tough because sometimes it's hard to pick it up in the lights.
Into the ground.
Like the second one, like the snow cone grab, right? The ball's popping out of the top of the mitt.
Look at the
glasses, the hat.
Over.
Yes, Mitch McIntyre is fantastic.
He's a great center fielder. Great center.
Our thanks to today's guests, Isaiah Kaufusi, and the elite pole vaulter, Zach McWhorter.
Sorry to Dennis, we ran out of time again. Maybe tomorrow.
For Jarom, I'm Spencer. Let's shout out to Jack Morris. That fantastic mustache. We'll see you tomorrow on BYU Sports Nation. The defense, Jarom, could make it a special season.
One-hander, Malik Moore, baby.
Go Cougs.